What is going on, boys and girls? Isn't it weird that without any European football, Arsenal just have these weeks where we're just dormant and sitting around doing other stuff or watching everybody else play football? It's weird, but yet I'm kind of getting used to it. And as I said, it really does help Arteta because you're able to do a little bit more film work while you're at the training ground, and this can only help develop the young kids. Now, moving on to content creators like myself, obviously we got to make up as much stories as we can in order to move the fans forward and try and generate a little bit more of a thought pattern within the fan base. Now, I think for me, I've talked on my last two streams about Arsenal's build up and Arteta's team, and we've got the goalkeeper, we've got the defenders. The midfield's pretty much set with Sambi and Partey. It looks like Smith Rowe will alternate between the left wing and the midfield, depending on who's in the midfield. But moving on, the talking point is about strikers. At the moment, I've got a poll up on the YouTube channel, which is talking about whether Lacazette should be the guy who's replacing Aubameyang, or whether Aubameyang, who scored 5 goals already this season, by the way, whether he should just carry on doing what he's doing because he's the captain. Once he gets into form, it's going to be bang, 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 and the goals are going in. And if he carries on at his current rate, he'll still score 20, 25 goals, which is nothing anywhere near than what he had last season. Last season was probably the worst season in Aubameyang's career. So we're definitely not going to be seeing that moving forward. But the question is about Lacazette. Lacazette's on 180 grand a week. He's 30 years old. And that being said, he's not in Arteta's plans. And I know a lot of people are saying, yeah, well, he integrates well with the kids. And I agree with all of that. But are you willing to extend the man's contract? He's looking for 240, 250 grand a week, which he ain't going to get, by the way. It doesn't matter where he goes. He can go to Spain. They ain't got no money. He can go to Italy. They ain't got no money. He can go back home to France. They ain't got no money either. So is he actually going to improve on his salary? No, he isn't. I'm expecting someone to take him on and sign him, and he'll probably play at a reduced rate. He'll probably play at somewhere a lot lower than what he was getting at Arsenal. He's 30 years old. You know, Wenger's saying by the time they hit that age, they're on a downward spiral. So the big question is, guys, who replaces Lacazette as our backup striker or even our main striker? Now, for me, I've talked to you guys about rumblings about what I've heard in regards to Alexander Isak, but let's look at his threefold. Let's look at the 3 guys who could replace Lacazette. So first of all, there's Isak, as you know, 21 years old, outstanding talent. He's 6'4". He's got everything. He's 2-footed, strong in the air, holds the ball up really well. He plays floods and floats on the wing as well, and is a danger man on the inside. Quality first touch. I really like him. He's 21 years old. When you come to think of it, he's only 2 years older than Balogun. That's weird. That's crazy when you think of it in that respect. So there's the only problem with that is they're looking at 60 million. They're not looking at anything less. And the other question is he Premiership ready? Can he adapt to the Premiership? Which brings us on to number 2. Now, number 2 is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a guy that came from Sheffield United. They've had him for about 5 years, paid 2.4 million for him. If he was to ever leave Arsenal, because remember, he's just signed an extension of, I think he's on 75 grand a week now. So he's just signed a new deal recently. His deal now doesn't finish until 2025. So he's got 4 years left on his deal. That's going to be bare dollars. Mate, you're looking at least minimum 50 million for a guy like him. And don't get me wrong, Arsenal have got no qualms in paying that money. Because remember, once we get a striker, once we get these deals in, why would you spend 40, 50, 60 million in, say, 2023 when you've already got your team? That's the plan. That's how things work. All this money for all of your players, and you've got your starting 11. All you're looking for is for guys to facilitate the squad. And that ain't going to cost you 50 million. So, yes, it's going to be harsh, and it's going to be hit hard and early by Edu and Arteta and Vinay. But what's happening here is clearly the focus on striker. So I think for me, 50 million it's a lot. I'm not going to lie, but it's a striker, and that's the going rate. Not people complained about Ben White, but that's the going rate. As for Ollie Watkins, there's more of a chance for us to sign Ollie Watkins than there is a Calvert-Lewin. And there are a lot of the reasons for that are he plays with Aston Villa. They just bought Danny Ings. So yes, they're looking for a combo, but I could definitely see a deal where Ollie Watkins is happening. Now they just bought him from Brentford for 18 million last season. So the deal is still kind of fresh. Again, runs until 2025. He's not on a lot of money, so that might help it a little bit in terms of personal terms. But I like both of the guys. I do. But I probably would go with Isak. If it was my choice, Isak would be the guy that I would go for. But the thing about Ollie Watkins is the same thing with St. Maximin. It's the same thing with Antonio. It's the same trope over again where these guys just cannot stay fit. And some of you might be saying, yeah, but Harry Kane doesn't stay fit. Sergio Aguero doesn't stay fit. Yeah, I get that. But those players are kind of knocking on their, late 20s and 30s. It's a bit different. When you're someone who's 24, 25, and you're picking up these injuries year in and year, it's not good. It's not good for your career. And I certainly wouldn't be happy giving up 50 million for the likes of Ollie Watkins, knowing that the man can't stay fit. That's not good. That don't make good business sense to me. Some of you lot might pull the trigger on that. I wouldn't feel comfortable on doing that at all. Knowing that I have a guy called Balogun in the back, and Balogun is balling out every game. Yeah, I know his first game in Brentford and the second game at Chelsea wasn't what we wanted it to be. But how could you blame him? He was thrown in the deep end, and yeah, he's not ready. I'll be the first person to admit that. But he could be ready. If he grows as fast as his ability will allow him, then it's been done before. If you look at Marcus Rashford and all them guys, they did it. So why can't Balogun? Balogun's got pretty much all the mechanics he needs to move forward. Now it's just about what he wants up here. It's about how he can develop himself and move to the next level. Because if he doesn't, he's just going to end up being another one of those Arsenal also-rans that will just fly around in the academy for a couple of years and end up maybe going out for a couple of loans, and then you're not going to see him in the first team ever. And that's been seen many times by Arsenal Football Club. So those are the three guys that I've got as a replacement. And I really want to know from you guys where you would see us going with. Who would you be most comfortable with? Is it Alexander Isak? Is it Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Or is it Ollie Watkins? I know a lot of you guys might be saying Calvert-Lewin, but Everton are going places. I mean, I thought last season that they were going to skyrocket out the stratosphere. But defensively, they're aging. Rodriguez deal kind of just backfired on them. They spent 24 million there. Then the man turned around and said, you don't want nothing to do with the place. And now he's having to walk back into training with his tail between their legs. And that's just a situation for them that's irreparable. And nobody wants to be in that situation. Believe me, nobody wants to be there. I know we got stuck with a few players like Leno and Xhaka and Bellerin. Well, we didn't get stuck with Bellerin because he's on loan. But we got stuck with a few players who didn't want to be here this summer. So there's still runners. Lacazette is probably going to be gone in the new year. El Nene, Callum Chambers, Klasnach, all going to be gone next year. So I think for the strikers, that's probably what I would be looking at. If you guys think that there's more, please mention them in the comment section below. But I would be happy if they went out and got Alexander Isak. I would be 100%. I know Neomis is into that. Tony is definitely into that. A couple of Arsenal fans as well are saying that they wouldn't mind someone of that stature to come in. Look, you've got to make a chance. You've got to pull the trigger on something like Chelsea tried. Chelsea spent 100 million on Morata and Timo Werner, and it didn't work out. Yeah, Werner's a backup, but you're spending all that money on a backup. That's not smart. Lukaku money was smart because yes, you paid 92 million for him, but you got 34 million for Tammy Abraham, so it cushions the blow. And that, I think that's where Arsenal's not in a position to kind of pull all those tactics, because you're barely getting money in for the players that you've let go. You're not really going to get any money in for Nketiah either. So, what are you going to do? It was probably wiser to sell Nketiah this summer, because then you could have actually done something with causing the books to be balanced in a certain way. But let me know what you guys think. It would be really good to hear that from you guys. And yes, another quiet week, but we have to get used to it, guys. Get used to it. And I'll speak to you guys in the next one. Peace out.